Most people think that growing their business is about a better hook, better ads, or better operations. But the real bottleneck is our very own biology. If your brain's foggy and your energy crashes keep holding you back from growth, no ad optimization or funnel is going to save you. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly how biohacking, or more specifically, finding a new vehicle for your health, is the smartest way to scale your business. Not only the smartest, but actually the fastest and the most proven mechanism that 7- and 8-figure founders are using to get a competitive edge right now in 2025. By the way, my name's Eon and I run a 7-figure health optimization business called Optimability, where we automate entrepreneurs' day-to-day activities that they shouldn't be focusing with, like laundry, cooking, cleaning, while also decoding their biology and integrating that whole process into a unique vehicle mechanism for them so they don't need to worry about their longevity and spending time that isn't worth their time with like cooking and cleanup and all those things, so that way they can focus on what matters most. When was the last time you felt fully switched on the whole day? These days are rare for most people, but for our clients and for myself, these days are a non-negotiable and they happen almost every single day. What does being switched on actually mean? Well, being switched on in a lot of instances can easily be related to being in a flow state. And a flow state occurs when your inflammation is low, your purpose is high, and your energy is also high. But in order for the first component of a flow state to get into place, we have to do science. Because as I'm sure you've realized, and after being targeted by a multitude of ads that you don't relate with, like HelloFresh and Uber Eats potentially, and all these other subsets, you've realized and you've interpreted that these are shitty vehicles for getting healthy because they're not actually getting you healthy. They're not unique to you. No one is going to tell you that you have a cavity. That's something that you have to do on your own. You have to stand up and you have to go to the doctor or the dentist to diagnose you. And then it's up to you again to take action after that. So nobody is doing the diagnosing for you. But let me tell you something. Health is very complicated. There's 12 systems at play, thousands of inner workings, and thousands of ways that your body is leaking energy on a day-to-day basis. And this is happening through inflammation in your gut, in your blood, in your senses, in your hormones, in your muscle mass. There's all these little things that need to be taken into account so that your health can meet you where you're at. Because if you're not face-to-face with what's holding you back, you're going to be in the dark. And when you're in the dark and you're just in a perpetual loop of not knowing the right foods to eat, not knowing where to source the right ingredients, not knowing the right supplements to take, and once you get stuck in that loop, life will take its course. And one day you'll wake up when you're 50 and 60 and feel hopeless. And this is what's happening to humans on a day-to-day basis now. There's no preventative measures and there's no science being done so that we meet ourselves and our problems where they're at so that we can tackle them by first understanding what they are.
I needed a break from the office, so we're shifting the rest of this video outside. And ultimately, even going outside is a sign of recharging for myself. You can easily relate this to yourself. How many times have you sat in front of the computer trying to solve a problem and have gone nowhere? We're masters at trying to power through what our bodies are telling us to do when they control us. Our brain and our body is the entire predictor of everything that happens on a day-to-day basis for us. And just because we're smart and we make a good amount of money doesn't mean that we can neglect that or that we're smarter than our bodies. And it's happened so many times where in business, I've continuously tried to power through, push through an idea or a thought or formulate something when all I needed was a reset of good food, a recovery like a sauna, steam room, disassociation, a long walk. And those are the things that have given me the insights that I was looking for. Letting my thoughts ruminate, letting them take rest. Because ultimately the journey is like this. It's an upward trend. And we have to support that upwards trend. Trying to just force the peaks and continuing to ride the peaks and just not paying respect or love or attention towards our bodies and actually decoding and understanding them is just foolishness. Like that's exactly what it is. And even worse than this, before I was acting on the wrong information. I was vegan for 3 to 4 years and I thought that I knew the answer to everything when it came down to my nutrition, even though I did a marginal amount of science. I never actually looked at the science and tried to apply it personally and see, okay, how is my body reacting to veganism? veganism. And when I had that discovery, when I had that insight and I started testing myself and I started understanding what feedback I was getting out of that diet, I realized just how detrimental it was for me. But if I hadn't done the science and if I hadn't deep diven and been super frugal with my flow and my mechanism for achieving peak performance or staying at that upper echelon level of creativity and work ethic, then I'd just be going in circles. I'd be going in circles, playing guesswork after guesswork. So that's why OptiMobility does science, because without data, without metrics, we're all just guessing. And you'll realize that people in your day-to-day life project themselves and their health, and all they're doing all day long is guessing, which is fine, but there's consequences associated with guessing and also with the data-driven approach as well. The first change that I made that directly improved my business was just cutting out all of the things that weren't aligned with my health goals in correlation to my focus and my output energy expenditure as well. So when I realized the diet that was fueling me the most wasn't the diet that was right for me in the moment, I didn't have a giant health goal. My biggest goal was to get the business up and running and to live off that comfortably without having to worry about money. And at that point in time, I wasn't training for an Ironman. I wasn't training for a bodybuilding show. I was just solely in the business and keeping 80% of my fitness. So the biggest shift was just really being in tune with my body and applying the business to myself. I did a blood panel. I did a DEXA scan. I found out exactly where my deficiencies were with my blood work and with my body scan. And I immediately just gave those insights to my chef, and he started preparing the meals for me. So that way I didn't have to think about it. I literally just showed up to work every day, knowing that if I spent time on the computer, that everything, the system that I was building was in turn fueling me as well. And the thing that I had to stop doing on a day-to-day basis was realizing and just jumping into fixing problems, fixing my health, refilling my water system, doing my laundry. All these minute little tasks and details would always fall on the latter part of the day. And I just didn't have time for them anymore. I was focused and I was really aligned with what I had to do in the business. And I realized that those things needed to get done, but they were always falling on the back burner, which is why I outsourced them to our chef. And in turn, I also had that system in home that I could see firsthand the service, see it, dissect it, break it down, and understand why and what needed improvement. So then that way, once our chef went into the homes of 7, 8, and 9-figure clients, it was an amazing and exceptional experience that I was also experiencing for the first time. If you're stepping into this from scratch and if you're trying to rethink what biohacking means for your business, realize that you have to start on a clean slate. Biohacking, performance coaches, supplementation, steroids, all of these things are buzzwords at inefficient vehicles. You can't break health down. It's not just supplements. It's not just fitness. It's not just biohacking. It's not Zoom calls with a coach or sessions with a trainer in the gym. These are just modalities and different types of micro vehicles for the whole thing. But realistically speaking, you can have the best tires on the market. Let's say you want to make the best car in the world. You can have the best tires on the market, the best suspension, but there's thousands of other things have to consider when you're making a good car. The AC, the driving experience, the steering wheel, the center console, the materials. There's thousands of intricacies and things. So note, just because that someone isn't presenting a beautiful 10 out of 10 car to you so that you can meet your goal and just pay for it, at this point in time in June 2025, humans are not yet at the point yet where that vehicle is made. That's what we're making. So when it comes down to rethinking your biology for your business, you have to really be serious about, okay, am I doing this to buy back my time? Or am I doing this to be the highest performing person possible in terms of my athletic endeavors? There are crossovers to both, but just really start off with a clean slate. Realize what your allowance is. If you don't have a health goal, then just try and make it into a vehicle that buys back your time. That's probably the number one thing. You have to orchestrate health in a way that buys back your time. That is the number one priority that will put you so much further ahead as opposed to getting another blood panel done or doing a gut test or all these little intricacies and things. As ultimately, once you start piecing together what is going to buy back your time with your health the most, that in turn becomes your vehicle. And once you have that vehicle, you start actually driving. You start getting the driver experience, the feedback, and then you're able to identify and pinpoint what you actually need to work on and improve as as you continue to build up your vehicle. But it's not going to go away. Health is always there. And we've done this for the past 5 years. I've started as a personal trainer. I couldn't walk. I spent 18 years in active physiotherapy. I've trained with some of the most elite entrepreneurs to come out of, I'd say, North America, especially in Canada, set housekeepers up, set up chefs in their home, set up RMTs in their home. I've worked with RMTs, doctors, geneticists, and all these people. I've probably made over 300 meal plans, and I've dissected over 50 blood reports and gut tests and analyzed all this data. And what I'm trying to get across to you is just because you have the suspension, the steering wheel, the frame of the car, and you have all the pieces in front of you, you need to build it. And that's the craziest thing is imagine a mechanic that is in his first year, having all those pieces laid out. How efficiently and how much would the mechanic trust himself to build a car that he's going to have for the rest of his life with 1 year's worth of experience? He's not. So instead of trying to do it yourself or trying to cheap out on it, because you can't cheap out on it. It's your body. It's your health. It's your only vehicle for the rest of your life. You only have one shot to make this 10 out of 10 car that you need to. So you want to hire the experts and you want to hire the people that have seen it all. We've personally seen people go from 350 pounds down to 215 and vice versa, 150 all the way up to 225. We've seen chronic conditions reversed. We've seen, knee pain, back pain. We've seen the whole plethora of overcoming addiction and a ton of other aspects with health. Seen it all. And it's amazing and it's completely empowering what happens when the right people come together and the right goals are identified and the right vehicles are put into place to really drive this home. So link in bio, check out optimobility.com for more information. And yeah, see you later.